Alexi Laiho. He's the frontman of Children of Bodom. He's one of the most technically sound shredders of our time, and he was always playing the coolest signature guitar models. Today, I'm going to be building a tribute to Alexi's Wildchild Rhoads. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. This is Trash to Thrash.
For more than 20 years, I've been obsessed with guitars. From playing them, to working on them, to buying and collecting them, I've built quite the collection of awesome custom guitars. This season, I'll be rebuilding guitars sent in by fans of the show. I'll be rebuilding 14 guitars over 14 weeks, each with a unique and interesting backstory. I'll be refinishing, refretting, rewiring, whatever it takes to make these things into the guitars of their dreams. This is Trash to Thrash.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trash to Thrash. I'm your host, Mark Murray. Last week I started the show by showing you how I find new guitars to work on, and I went on the hunt for a Jackson Rhoads for my customer Marcel. For this project, the guitar has to have some specific key features. He said he wants the guitar to have a Floyd Rose bridge and have the electronics routed through the back of the guitar so there's no pickguard on the front. He also said that he'd love it to have 24 frets, shark fin inlays, and if he could, set neck or neck through construction, but if all other requirements are met, he'll take a bolt-on. I knew there was a few different Rhoads models that I could make work for this project, but what I found was perfect. It's a Jackson RRXMG. It comes with a basswood body, a maple neck, rosewood fretboard, it's a 24 fret guitar with pearloid shark fin inlays, neck through construction, and rear routing, which means it covers all the requirements for my customer Marcel. The guitar also comes with a set of EMG 81 and 85 pickups, a Floyd Rose Special, and a compound radius fretboard.
The plan with this guitar is to build a tribute to Alexi Laiho's Wildchild guitar. The first thing we're going to need to do to convert this RRXMG into a Wildchild is going to be to fill the neck pickup in. Alexi only used one pickup in the bridge. For this build, we're going to keep the EMG 81 in the bridge. The next thing we're going to do is fill in all the controls. Since it has one pickup, it doesn't need a selector switch anymore, and we're going to simplify the controls with just a single volume placed in a better position between the first and the second knobs. With the body ready for paint, we're going to bring it over to the paint booth and add yellow bevels. We'll actually be repainting the black too. After that, the guitar is going to get reassembled with a gold Goto 1996 T floating tremolo. Goto makes great guitar parts, they're made in Japan and they're excellent quality. This is going to be a huge upgrade from the Floyd Rose Special. Then we'll finish it off with a gold knob to control the master volume. This is going to be an awesome transformation.
Alexi started Children of Bodom in 1997 and they sold over 2 million records worldwide. They released 10 studio albums, a couple live albums, and a couple EPs. Alexi also released about 15 other albums with his side projects and other bands, plus he did guest spots on a ton of other people's albums. If you're wondering what Children of Bodom means, it's a reference to 3 teenagers who were murdered at Lake Bodom in Finland in 1960. They are the Children of Bodom.
On that incredibly dark note, let's get into the build. Of course, we always start every build by disassembling the guitar, bagging up the parts, and then bringing it outside to sand it down. My shop assistant Ryan helps me with these steps. Since the debut of Trash to Thrash, my workload has increased so much that I had to hire extra help. Ryan does excellent work, and he's the first member of the team I hope to assemble of guitar building masters. Now the guitar is sanded and it's ready for some Bondo and body filler. Pretty much every used Jackson Rhoads you buy is going to have chipped up corners like this, so we'll be repairing that and filling in the controls and the neck pickup cavity. For the controls, I'm just filling them using wooden dowels. It's a 3/8 inch dowel, which is the size the guitar was drilled out to. I brushed some glue onto the dowels, gently tapped them into place, and then put some Bondo over them so I could sand it level so there'd be no sign of the old holes. Since this guitar's only going to have one pickup, I filled in the pickup selector switch hole and then repaired this chipped corner. Like I said, all the used Rhoads you're going to buy pretty much have these chipped corners, and this one's not so bad. I've done some that were way worse. On a Rhoads, they can be a little tricky to sand because of the beveled edges, but it's not so bad once you've done it a couple times. Next, I'll be filling in the neck pickup cavity using this piece of hardwood that I cut out. I traced the neck pickup cavity hole, so it should fit in there real nice. I dumped a bunch of glue in, spread it around with the brush, and I even brushed it onto the back of the piece of wood to fill in the grain and really make sure both sides are fully covered in glue. Then I pressed in the piece. So now everything's filled in except for the first volume control. I actually went back later and filled that one in. We're going to reposition it about halfway between where Control 1 and 2 were. Then I let the body sit for about a week so the filler could fully cure, and then we're going to sand it. I could still see a little remnants of where the neck pickup was, so I added a little more Bondo and repeated the process, sanded it level again. Then I brought it in the paint booth and put the first coat of paint on it, some yellow.
The Alexi Rhoads is looking awesome so far. The yellow turned out super vibrant and looks just like the original Wildchild. Next up, we'll be taping off the beveled edges, then spraying it black. So it's going to be black with the yellow beveled edges.
I've done a lot of different finishes on guitars that use masking tape to create patterns, like the Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrats and the different Tiger Rhoads that I've built over the years. But to be honest, even though this seems like a pretty simple masking job, it was pretty difficult to get the lines perfectly straight and placed perfectly on the bevels. I usually use either Scotch, 3M, or frog tape for my tape stripes. But no tape is perfect. You always get a little bit of bleed through somewhere on the guitar. If you guys out there have experience painting and using masking tape, let me know down in the comments what fine line tape do you guys like using. Alright, we're back in the paint booth now, and we're adding some black to this guitar. There's something about black and yellow guitars I really love. I don't know if it's just because of the EVH Bumblebee or because these colors just go so well together, but out of all of Alexi Laiho's guitars, the Wildchild is my favorite color combination. Alexi had quite a few different signature and custom shop guitars that he would play. Some were Rhoads shaped and some were a more modern flying V shape. He had some with painted bevels and some with pinstriping. Over the years he worked with Jackson, ESP and LTD, and Edwards.
I'm a collector of old guitar magazines, and to me, he was grossly underrated and undermentioned. When you look through the old guitar magazines, he hardly ever comes up. He was an amazing composer, guitarist, and frontman, and a lot of guitarists don't even know who he is. Hey, I'll admit it, I was late to learning about Children of Bodom's music. When I was younger, the synthesizers and keyboards kind of threw me off, but over the last few years, I've learned to really love it. The speed, the power, the technical ability of the whole band is exactly what I look for in a metal band. Looking through some of my old guitar magazines, I found some interesting articles featuring Children of Bodom and Alexi. In one of the articles, he talks about when he was using Jackson Rhoads, he was using Jackson passive pickups with a preamp switch that would just turn it on and off, but it wasn't adjustable. Then when he started working with ESP and EMG designed him a signature pickup that came with the preamp. It was still a passive pickup, but this time it had an adjustable preamp, which he liked better. He also talked about how later in his career he added a lot of mids to his tone, and it just added a lot of dimension to his guitar tone. Another one of the articles, titled Night of the Living Shred. The zombie apocalypse is upon us. What do you grab as you run out the door and head for the hills? A host of your favorite guitarists give us their answers. And then a bunch of guitarists, including Alexi, answer that question. Alexi said, my signature ESP guitar and a bottle of whiskey, but I'm not supposed to drink whiskey anymore. Shit, I guess I'd grab a case of beer then. And in another article, in this issue of Guitar World with the 100 greatest Metallica songs, Alexi was asked what his favorite 3 Kirk Hammett solos are. Number 1, he said, Welcome Home Sanitarium from Master of Puppets. I love the leads and the slow parts. The melodies are just really dark sounding and catchy. They make the song even better. Number 2, Hit the Lights from Kill 'Em All. All the leads on this song have an amazing energy with a super mean tone that tears you apart. It's just endless pentatonic madness and metal as fuck. And number 3, One from And Justice for All. The first time I heard the tapping part in the ending solo, I couldn't believe anyone can play that fast. I used to play that solo to impress girls. That move always worked. I used to play One to impress people too. What's something that you guys always play to impress people? Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys say. Hey guys, I want to take a moment real quick to tell you about my friends at Iron Age Guitar Accessories. They make awesome stuff, knobs, guitar picks, and my favorite, kill switches. I know a lot of you guys are like, this guy talks about kill switches on every episode, but it's because I put a kill switch on basically every guitar I have. I love kill switches because as a lead guitarist, I'm always looking for a new way to add something special to my playing. You know, we have harmonics and chorus and flanger and all these cool different effects and techniques we can use. But the kill switch is one not a lot of people use, and it adds a really cool percussive dynamic to your playing. Let me show you. Now go get yourself a kill switch, enter GG-10 at checkout, and you get 10% off. Links down in the description below.
Like I'd mentioned before, the tape lines weren't quite as crisp as I'd like them, so I touched them up using a little brush. I actually have a ton of experience painting all kinds of stuff over the years with a brush. Big things, little things, so this was actually pretty easy. It's the first time I've ever done it on a guitar, and it actually cleaned up the lines really nicely. I let that dry, and then I smoothed out the brush strokes with some 1000 grit sandpaper. Then it was back into the paint booth, and I threw down some clear on it. I sprayed 5 coats of 2K using Spray Max's high gloss formula. This stuff goes on super smooth and dries nice and flat, so it's going to make the level sanding and polishing a lot faster and easier. Notice when I did the clear, I only did the body. My customer Marcel wanted the neck to be extra fast, so I sanded down the neck, added a Guitar Guts logo to the back of it in gold, and then sprayed it with matte clear coat. After letting it dry, it feels super smooth and super fast. I actually really like the way it feels, and I'll be recommending this to more of my customers in the future. Next, I reassembled the headstock with gold hardware. I came up on a set of gold Jackson tuners that are brand new. They're going to drop right into this guitar, and then I'll be replacing the nut with a Floyd Rose R3 nut. This is the bridge I'll be using on this guitar. It's a Goto 1996T. It's a full floating bridge, similar to a Floyd Rose, but many would say this is better. It's made in Japan, and it's actually even a little more affordable than a Floyd Rose original too. Another really cool feature of this guitar is we'll be adding an EVH D-Tuna to the bridge. A D-Tuna is a switch that you can pull out to put the guitar in drop D and push back in to make it go back to standard tuning. Of course, you can use this with lower tunings as well. The only drawback to a D-Tuna is you need to block the bridge, meaning you won't be able to pull the whammy bar up anymore to raise the pitch. You'll still be able to go down for dive bombs, but you won't be able to raise the pitch upward, which for a lot of people is a deal breaker. But for people who use a Floyd Rose bridge and need to switch back and forth between standard and drop D, it's a no-brainer. This thing is awesome. Now that the clear coat's dried, I'll be doing some level sanding and some polishing. And look at this thing. This is why I love that brand of clear coat. Spray Max makes some excellent stuff. This thing just looks awesome. This guitar's ready for some assembly now, so we'll start with the wiring and drop in the EMG 81 pickup with a single volume knob. Alexi used a passive pickup with a preamp, but for this build, we're going with an EMG 81 instead. Alright, now the final step is to set it up with some strings, get it tuned up, and then set up the bridge and intonate it. Alright everybody, are you ready? Brace yourself for the Wildchild. What do you think? I think this thing is sick. I love the black and yellow, the bumblebee colors. I love the Rhoads body style. I really do like the EMG 81 single pickup. The simplicity with the single volume knob is awesome. If you know this show, then you know I love gold hardware, so I just love the way this thing turned out. There's something about gold hardware on a black headstock that just looks so classy. It was quite a bit of work to get it here. Filling the neck pickup, filling all the controls, getting the beveled edges right. But in the end, it was all worth it. Getting to build killer shred machines like this is what I'm all about. So, the hard work behind it was my pleasure to do. Now it's time for the final test. Let's plug it in and see how it sounds. But first... Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Do you want your guitar modified by me, or would you want me to build you a custom guitar and have it featured on the show? If so, send me an email to mark@guitarguts.com. I also have that listed down in the description below. I'd be more than happy to go over some custom guitar options with you. If you have a guitar you want modified, or you don't have the guitar yet, either is totally fine. I can help you hunt for the right guitar to build up the guitar of your dreams. If you have a guitar you want me to modify, send me some pictures of it and a description of what it is and what you'd like done to it, some ideas. If you don't really know, that's totally fine. I'll help, brainstorm with you, and we'll come up with a game plan for making you a totally awesome, custom, killer axe. This guitar plays great, it sounds great, it feels great. The RRXMG is an excellent guitar. The neck joint on it's really nice, and the neck shape is actually really cool too. It's really thin, but Jacksons have a slightly wider neck than a Gibson or a Fender. A standard nut's 1 5/8 of an inch wide, but a Jackson nut is 1 11/16 inch wide, 1/16 inch wider. It doesn't sound like a lot, but to be honest, it's quite a bit of a difference. I also really like the matte finish on the back of the neck. It's really comfortable, and when you're sliding around, it's very quick.
Alright everybody, what'd you think of the Wildchild? Insane guitar, right? Thanks so much to Marcel for making this episode possible. Thanks so much to the sponsor of this episode, Iron Age Guitar Accessories. And thanks so much to all of you guys for watching, tuning in, continuing to comment, hitting the subscribe, and telling your friends about it. I really appreciate it. If you want to buy a Guitar Guts kill switch or the Guitar Guts kill boost pedal, go to guitarguts.com and there's a link for guitars for sale. Click that and you're going to see a couple guitars and a couple pedals and kill switches and stuff like that. So all that's at guitarguts.com. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my friend Chris Brooks. He sent me this book a little while back on legato guitar technique, and it's excellent. He's got a whole line of all kinds of guitar technique books. So if you're looking for some great books on how to play guitar better, this is a non-paid sponsor. I just like Chris. He puts out awesome stuff. So check out Chris Brooks. I'll put his information down below as well. Alright guys, I'll be back on Sunday for the Sunday Morning Shred right here on the same YouTube channel. And I'll be back next Thursday with another episode of Trash to Thrash where I'll be talking about Arbor guitars. I recently rebuilt a couple Arbor Flying Vs, which are really cool, Concord style, like a Randy Rhoads Flying V. So be sure to come back next week for that. Hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you right here next week. Rock on, my friends.
Do you want to win one of the guitars I built on the show? Every month I'm giving away another one of the custom guitars I built on this show. The only surefire way to be entered into this raffle is to sign up to the CEO tier of my Patreon page. Every month I download the list of patrons and do a random number drawing to give away one of the awesome guitars I built here on the show. Last month, Robert won the White Reaper, this insane 1985 Ibanez Proline 1660V. And this month I'm going to be giving away this totally radical 1994 Jackson Rhoads concept. This guitar features black chrome EMG 5766 pickups, matching locking Goto tuners, a custom clear pickguard, and a purple Tessie kill switch. Not to mention the totally insane purple and teal paint job on it. And next month I'm going to be raffling off a totally insane Jackson Kelly. So for your chance to win and be entered automatically into a raffle every single month to win one of these guitars, go sign up to the CEO tier of my Patreon page. The links are in the description below.